So what did you want to be when you grew up? If we ask the kids around our regional area what they want to be, what sort of answers do you think we're going to find? We're going to have some kids wanting to be astronauts, racing car drivers. Some kids want to be actors or authors. You get some unique kids, like my youngest daughter, who wanted to be a hairdresser at the circus. So, yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is you end up with these, oh, sorry, I've skipped too far. You end up with these kids who have creativity on one side or fun and adventure on the other side. And in the case of my youngest daughter, you can't have both. And I think that's what automation and AI is going to deliver for us in the near future. We're going to find that even the way we work, and that word, work, is going to change. And so we won't think of work as being in a certain place, in a certain desk for 8 or 9 hours, and then going home. We'll think of work in terms of output, of producing things, in terms of creativity. And I think that's all what we really, really want to do, or at least what we wanted to do as kids. So to start off with, what is automation and what is artificial intelligence? People often conflate the two terms, but they're quite different. So let's say, for instance, that I'm sitting at my desk, and part of my role is to monitor the company's inbox. And so what I do is I wait for emails to come in that inbox, and when they come in, I will look for certain ones, and then I'll open up a PDF document that's attached. I'll copy and paste relevant information from that PDF document to some internal system or internal database, and I'll do that many times throughout my day. What I've just described to you there is a sequence of steps. And now, computers are really, really good at following a sequence of steps. They do it very quickly. They don't need lunch breaks. They don't get tired, and they don't get much wrong. Humans do. And so we've been giving kind of the work that is better suited to computers to humans for far too long. And it tends to be the laborious, the grunt work, the drudgery that we never really wanted to do as kids. Now, artificial intelligence is somewhat different because there are some problems that are quite complicated and they defy that sort of procedural if-then-else type logic. And so as a software developer, or even with a team of software developers, it's very hard for me to codify the solution. Take, for instance, the problem of recognizing handwritten digits on an envelope, like a postcode. Tremendously difficult problem, but one that we've been able to solve fairly recently and fairly well. So what you do is you take the images, you have thousands of images, and you have hand classified those images. And what you do is you break up each image into 100 by 100, say, of pixels, and if they're black and white, each of those pixels will be a number between 0 and 255. And so the computer doesn't care. It's an optimization problem. And so then when the next letter comes in, it will return the highest probability based on the data it sees that this is a 4. It might be 95%, or versus a 2, which might be 5%. So the algorithm would suggest go with the 4. So what a McKinsey study came out with in 2017 was that 30% of the hours worked globally could be automated by 2030. And that's significant. But it's important to remember that we're not talking about job loss necessarily. We're talking about, I think, people working with machines rather than being replaced by machines. And that's an important point. Now, I'm here to say that jobs being disrupted by technology is not a new thing. If we go back a couple hundred years, and if I was an English lord and I had a massive estate and I wanted my grass cut, what would I do? I'd hire 30 people full-time to cut the grass. That would be their job. And I would be nice and I'd give them a beer ration, as they often did, but I'd pay them very little. And so they'd be half-cut cutting the grass for me, like all day, all the time. And that's not really rewarding, fulfilling work. I mean, nowadays we have better ways of doing it. And everyone's got short grass, and landscapers and lots of people can make a bit of coin from doing that for other people. So it's a good thing. But when we see this new technology, sometimes we have a bit of backlash. And so again, I'm picking on English here, but if we go back to 1811, you would have seen some riots and some people breaking into factories and then destroying some of the weaving equipment there. Why? Well, they feared their job loss through automation. So we've kind of been here before. So the key thing to think about is, how will automation and AI change our economy here? Well, it may feel like we're fairly insulated and fairly isolated here, but due to that other invention of the internet, we're competing nationally and even globally in some cases. So there's a 2018 Accenture report that said that within the next 5 years, we'd see a 10% employment increase due to automation and AI. And now I'm seeing that in my field right now. And I've been doing this for 20 years, and before it was even a thing, I was doing this. And so a lot of the titles that are around now just didn't exist then. So I've seen the data scientist title appear, I've seen data engineers, I've seen RPA developers, which are people who automate these business processes, pop up. And if you look at the number of jobs that have some element of data analysis, there's heaps and heaps and heaps of them, and they're just going to continue to grow. So what I'm talking about is people not being replaced, but people being transitioned to other things, to more creative and more interesting work, which I think is a good thing. Now, what's significant for us, of course, is that we, in the report as well, found that in the next 5 years, companies adopting automation and AI could experience a 38% revenue boost compared to their competitors. Now, that's significant for us. So, how does your company go about making money with automation and AI? I mean, a lot of the stuff sounds pretty cool, but we've all got to eat, we've all got to get paid. Let's say, for instance, a rival company is using automation in their business. So rather than having 7 or 8 people doing copy pasting and repeating the same reporting process again and again, they have hourly updated information that's automated. So they have better information faster to be able to make decisions for their business. Let's say this rival company as well automates a lot of their onboarding of their customers. Let's say it's a bank that you're competing with your bank competing with another bank. Now, what's going to happen is what you're going to find is lower quality customers will be more prepared to wait in the queue. So you're going to find it harder to write business, whereas your competitor will get people on the books faster and get them loans. So better quality customers will go there. And so through the door, you're going to experience much harder business, and it's going to play all the way through to collections. Now, if you're unlucky enough that this rival company is also using artificial intelligence in their business, then they may have fraud models running as well. So then you become a soft target for fraud. And so if they also have predictive churn models going as well, then you're in real trouble, because they're able to predict when their customers are going to leave them, and they'll be able to retain them a lot better than you will. So the whole thing looks pretty grim. And so what I think is going to happen is you're going to find it's harder to write business, you're writing lower quality business, you're losing your customers to your competitors, and you're not able to retain them back, and you become a target for fraud. So then what we're talking about now is not just people moving to other jobs, not necessarily being replaced, but being transitioned, but we're talking about mass layoffs. And out here, we're talking about an implosion of that company that eventually might have to shut up shop, taking down suppliers and other services. And some of my mates, the guys I go surfing and play basketball with, the chippies and mechanics and that sort of stuff, which are the people I care about. So that's a really, really grim thing. So what can we do here in regional Australia? Well, a 2015 Foundation of Young Australians report it predicted that in the very near future, 90% of roles will require basic digital skills. 60% of roles will require more advanced skills. Now, I'm looking out here and I'm seeing a lot of young people. And you guys are very fortunate to live in the time that you live in, where all the information of humanity is available to you. And believe it or not, those same skills that you use to level up in Fortnite or whatever, how you're watching some YouTube videos, you're Googling, you're going to forums, and you're applying what you know to solve real problems. Absolutely applicable in the modern workplace. There's nowhere near enough of it. People my age and older, oh, it's not my wheelhouse, I can't do it. There's a reluctance to take that step, to take initiative for their own learning, and to be continually learning. And that's a superpower you have, especially here where we have 20% youth unemployment, which is an absolute tragedy. So I'd encourage businesses to take on young people. And don't say, this is how we do things around here. Rather say, this is the problem that we have. How would you go about solving it? and then stepping back and letting them use their creativity, their intelligence, and that wonderful technology and how adaptable they are to learning new technology, and let them do it for themselves. In that way, I really think the use of artificial intelligence and automation in businesses here will help keep our big businesses profitable and sustainable, will then help us to create a real vibrant startup ecosystem that would then also transition to more people having more money in the economy, younger people being attracted or staying in the region as well. And the flow-on effect means prosperity for everyone. And I think the path to do that, surprisingly, is through artificial intelligence and automation. Thank you so much.